My name is Dan. I am 175 pounds lighter than I once was. I was 473 pounds. I'm a former pro athlete. Excuse me. I literally have lost 175 pounds. I was on 7,000 units of insulin. I got off of the insulin as well. And one thing I'm constantly asked is, how did you do it? What did you do? And people often think there's just like kind of one blanket answer. And I own the Unity Wellness Group. I acquired this company. They were based in Chicago. I moved them to Los Angeles, and I turned it into a company that helps type 2 diabetics put their type 2 diabetes in remission and helps people lose weight. It's amazing the people who I have coming to me for help. So I thought I would do a video about exactly what I did on the journey to drop 175 pounds and get off of 7,000 units of insulin. And it's sort of a journey that really needs to be talked about. So at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my 3 biggest takeaways of things you really need to think about so that you can go on the same journey. And it doesn't matter if you're losing, say, 15 pounds, or you're trying to get your A1C, say, from 6.5 to 5.5, whatever the case may be. You have to be brave enough first and foremost to take a step to go on the journey. And that's number 1. Actually, I would say even before number 1, you got to figure out, how did you get here? That's the one thing I did. I literally sat in my car outside of my office and I asked myself, how did I get to 473? I was a pro wrestler for 12 years. I toured about 225 pounds. All over the world with that, and I felt good. I was in a gym. I was doing 300 shows a year. Very, very active, and my diet was really good. A lot of protein, as you can imagine, and stuff like that. But I got into the business world, got in a really stressful job. I was a business fixer, and I worked for a company that really answered to Wall Street. So they had no patience. I would have to go into situations where they owned a number of different operations, and they were losing millions of dollars, and I would turn them around and get them making millions of dollars. But one thing I found along the way fixing these companies was really I'd fix the people, because that's really what it was. I'd take the same people who are losing millions of dollars, change how they thought, and then get them making millions of dollars. So it was a pretty interesting run. However, again, zero patience, and with zero patience, it was up to me to bring results and bring results fast. So I found myself working 16-hour days, 6 days a week, sometimes 7, and just eating whatever, nachos, pizza, like all the stuff that's great if you're a touring pro wrestler, where you're in a ring every night, expending a lot of energy, and you're in a gym every day besides the travel. And even us, we wouldn't eat like that all the time, However, this is what I did. So, you think, I'm a former pro athlete. I know it's like coming off the road for a couple of weeks, and I know how to get back in shape. Listen, at 473, there's no little mini camp you're going to put yourself in to get back in shape. There's not. So you need to come to grips with, first of all, that. Like, how did I get here? What happened? I mean, I could literally walk 5 minutes on a treadmill when I started what I call my comeback tour. And, kids at the gym were laughing at me. 20-year-old kids like giggling while I was on a treadmill. I could walk 5 minutes and I'd have to grab the rails. So I decided to make some life changes, and I really decided to make changes that were sustainable. I really had to come to grips that I wasn't going to lose 20 pounds the first month. Were there months I lost 18? Yeah, but I really, really needed to just admit this might take a minute. And that's what I did. I sat down and I built out a realistic plan of what I thought I could do and how the changes would come. And I also admitted to myself, I don't need to be perfect. If I miss a day, if I have a bad meal, that's not going to define me. I just need to bounce back and get the next one. I decided I needed consistency over perfection, right? I wasn't building a rocket to go to the moon, so every rivet and bolt didn't have to be perfectly set. But if I could, more than often than not, stay on the program and keep my head on straight and focus and move myself forward, it was going to be a pretty good ride. And that's what I did. I started doing I went to 50 net carbs a day. That was the first thing I did. And I started building up meals where I would have 50 net carbs. So like around me, I had a lot of restaurants. We'd order food in, things like that. I got their menus and I thought, well, what could I design for me while the other guys were having whatever food they wanted to have? What would work for me in a particular way? And I had my assistant. She used to help me make sure I kind of stayed on track, because she would say, okay, you could eat this over here, you could eat that over there, give me suggestions. So what did that tell you? I had some support, and that was a big thing. And all of these are going to come into play later, because inside my wellness company, this is what we offer, right? Because that's the things I didn't have all the tools I have in my company. I wish I had those tools when I was doing it. I didn't have them. So that's what I did. I went to 50 net carbs a day, and I started losing weight. I started losing weight at a pretty good clip. Once I started dialing myself in, kept my head on straight, it was great. So off I go on this journey. Now, you have to understand something also. Along the way, I literally spent thousands on my education. Like I luckily I had the ways and means to do it, but I studied under the best of the best when it came to this. I really wanted to find out, how do you do this and how do I apply it for me? Because look, it wasn't like I was going to go do the regime of a pro athlete again. I couldn't. I physically couldn't. But how could I take something and adapt it to me so I could make it work for me as I kept moving myself forward? And that's what I did. So I started losing weight, went to 50 net carbs a day, went down to 40 net carbs a day, went down to 30, and stair-stepped my way down to 20 eventually. And then I went to 20 total carbs. So I did a stair-step program down, right? However, along the way, I did a lot of experimenting with things. And then there were times when my weight loss stalled. And so I had to figure out ways to jumpstart it. So one of the ways I discovered that worked for me to jumpstart was fasting. I started doing intermittent fasting, and I started with a 12-hour fast, 16-hour fast. And then I thought, man, I could probably do a 24-hour fast. And I did a 24. And I thought I could probably stretch that. So I started doing a 40-hour fast at the start of the week. So I would eat dinner on Sunday, and then I go all Sunday night, all the way through Monday. Monday was a heavy day for me. A lot of conference calls, meetings with my staff, my upper management team. I'd hold a meeting every Monday with them. And then Monday night I would work out. Now I'm running on ketones at that point, so I had great energy for a workout. And then the next day on Tuesday, I'd eat lunch. That's 40 hours. Because don't forget, you get the sleep time in there. I did that, and then I kind of got used to that, and I liked it because I got my time back. I didn't have to decide, what am I going to have for lunch today? I could work right through. I work a lot, and I'm very, very driven as a human being. So I went through that. I started doing a 20-hour fast on Wednesdays, where I just eat once. Finally, it got to the point where I said, I could probably do another one of these fasts. And so come the end of the week, I did the same thing. Thursday, I'd eat dinner, and then, of course, Friday, nothing, and I'd eat lunch on Saturday. So I found doing the 2 40-hour fasts through the week, it was actually really good for me. I didn't lose energy. Ketones were pushing me forward, and I was losing weight in a substantial pace. So I did 123 in 13 months, 123 pounds in 13 months. I didn't plan to do that. Look, I've been happy to lose, like 50 pounds the first year, 50 pounds the second year, something like that. However, once I started really pouring the gas on the fire and I really got into it and I got the momentum behind me to do it, I really started having fun with it. I started posting on social media some of my meals, and some of these apps were just coming out at the time, and the stuff just took off, and I was very fortunate to get a lot of followers back then. So along I went on the journey. All right, so I was down 123. The next year I went and I stayed flat. Actually gained back maybe 15 pounds, something like that, but it was still really good for me. Then I decided I wanted to drop another 50, 60 pounds, and that's what I did. I dropped another 60 pounds. Went right back to focusing on my macros, the exact same play. I didn't do the 40-hour fast on the second time through. I didn't have to because I was losing weight. Now this year I'm on another journey. I want to drop I'd like to drop 50 pounds. We'll see if we can get that done between now and the end of the year. I think I'm down 15 so far. So 35 pounds between now and the end of the year, we'll see. I started running again. There's so many great things came back to my life after I started doing this. I started running again. It was my dream to run a 5K. Before I went into pro wrestling, I went out for pro football, I got cut. But my dream was to run a 5K when I was 473. And about a year ago, I did. I ran my first 5K, ran a couple more, and this year I ran the New York City Half Marathon. Now, when I say run, I run, of course. And I do it with heartbeat zones, and I can do a whole video on that. Actually, I've got videos up on that. But that's what I did, and that's how my journey's gone. And it was a smart way to do it because I've kept the weight off. I now own a wellness company. We focus on people, type 2 diabetes and weight loss. Look, a lot of this revolves around insulin resistance. Once you figure out really what's holding you back, number one, mentally, right? Number two, with your nutrition. Number three, you've got exercise. And number four, as important as sleep and rest, you've got to get sleep and rest. It's such a big thing. You're going to rebuild your body, get some sleep and rest to go with it. And once I figured those things out, learned how to capture them, and then I started helping other people along the way. This has just grown and grown and grown. We're now helping a ton of people with their journeys as well, and it's been very good for me. I mean, it's been very satisfying. We're helping so many people out, and we've done some amazing turnarounds. I mean, I could go on and on. I could brag about all of the people we've helped. The amputees, reversing diabetes in an amputee. I wish I would have got to them before the amputation. Didn't. I've had ladies and needles in their eyes. I've got many clients, 60 to 75 years old. I built out an app, and in this app, I think is the best type 2 diabetes app on the market. And I've also built out an academy. So with the app, everything's under one roof. I looked at my clients and I thought, man, when I was losing all this weight, what would have helped me? And that's how I built the app. In all fairness, I put everything into the app that I would have liked when I was doing my journey, right? And that's what I did. And I make tweaks to it all the time because I built it. We're very mobile. I can shift on the fly. So it's great. The academy, everything I needed to know and learn, everything I did learn about this is in the academy. So my exact play is in my academy, and the app will help you get there. So that's what I did. I wish I had these tools. It would have been so much easier for me when I was doing it. So what are some of my key takeaways on this? Number one is you got to get in your own head. I have so many people call me. I just had a call the other day with a fella. He's about to lose his toe, the amputation. And so I laid out the program, and he still had to think about it. I said, you're not ready to get well then. Have you still got to think about it, man? You're about to lose a toe. I don't know what bigger wake-up call you need, because I don't even know what to say, but just not ready. You've got to get your head ready. You've got to be ready to make a change. And the only way to get ready to make a change is understand, where did I come from? How did I get here? You need to look at your why. I had a call with a lady, and she's like, no, nothing changed in my life. There's usually something changes to vault you into the state you're in. And the more we peel back the onion, the more we found, oh yeah, you know what, you're right, this did change. Once she came to grips with that and stopped beating herself up for that and acknowledged that, now she's able to move forward, and she's starting to break through insulin resistance. This goes on and on and on. So you need to figure out, how did you get here? You need to understand you're not going to beat yourself up about it. What's the why you have now to move forward? For many of my clients, it's because they've got kids, they've got grandkids, they want to be around to play with them in the future and everything else. So figure out what your why is. And then start paying attention and tracking. That's the other big takeaway. You need to know your numbers. When I was fixing businesses, I was able to fix them because I tracked numbers. I was able to turn levers and dials because I knew which ones to turn by tracking the numbers. If you don't track your numbers and know where you're at, you'll never be able to fix yourself. So you can have the best mindset and everything else. It's all like tied together, right? You can have all of that, but if you don't know what to fix, you're lost. And the same thing, you could have all the levers and dials, but if your head's not in the game, you're never going to succeed either. So you've got to tie everything together in one package. And that was a thing. So, I put this whole package together. It's amazing. And the thing that people come to me for is usually twofold. Number one, education. They don't have the education. I spent thousands to get the cheat codes and have them. Number two, it's support. They don't have the support of the community, and that's what we do. We build a community, and I don't fix people. I do transformations and put them in a community, and everybody's supportive to move yourself forward. I turn down more people than I let into my academy, as a matter of fact, but I just want the best of the best, and that doesn't mean you're the top performer, this or that or anything else. It just means you have a good attitude and you really want to do something with yourself. So that's my takeaway. That's the reality. That's really what happened and how I was able to lose 175 and get off of 7,000 units of insulin. Imagine that, 7,000 units I'm poking in myself every single month. Done. That could be you. If you need help, reach out. I'm more than happy to have a conversation and walk you through all my stuff. But hopefully this helped and you can sit down and have this conversation. This might not be for you. It might be for your parents, your grandparents, who knows. But I'm telling you, there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is sunshine. I'm running 5Ks. I couldn't be happier. The New York City Half Marathon was the trip of a lifetime. I mean, there's nothing like running in New York. The Brooklyn Bridge through Manhattan, Times Square. There's nothing like that. And you could do it too. Matter of fact, in my app, I've got, if you've never ran a 5K, you need to get, off your couch, off your front step and run a 5K. You put the date in, we'll train you up to it. And if you want to do a half, we can train you up to that too. It's amazing. So anyways, hope this helps. Let me know if I can help you. Let's make reversing type 2 diabetes cool.